to Lauren again this afternoon. I was like, hey, how's it going? And she never responded to me.
Really?
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. Tim, go ahead.
All right, so we're good to go, Jesse?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 282, recorded on May 28th, 2020. On tonight's episode, we welcome Adam. I messed up. All right, let me try that again.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 282, recorded on May 28th, 2020. On tonight's episode, we welcome Adam Raffel, editor-in-chief for GamesReviews.com, to the podcast to discuss the latest headlines, rumors, and events. Jesse, cue the music.
What is going on? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Justin Mass, and welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 282. And joining me are three of the coolest guys around the internet. Speaking of cool, number one, Mr. Jesse Waldeck, or as I refer to him, Eric. Eric, what's going on today?
Greetings, I'm good. It's been a really weird week with having Monday off as a holiday, and then a friend of ours was furloughed for 2 weeks, so we decided to help him out and ask for him to rip out some carpet and put in some new linoleum. So we ordered $1,500 worth of stuff and offered to pay him $1,000 for it. As he's pulling up the carpet, he says, "You have hardwood floors under here and they're still good quality." So we're like, okay, let's change the scope of this project.
Surprise!
Yeah, and I think this is the original hardwood floors when the house was built in the 60s. And most of it's still pretty good.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Speaking of a man who I think is handy, but I don't really know that for sure, Mr. Timothy Off. Timothy, how are you today?
I'm doing great, and I'm feeling great that I didn't say Nintendo Nudes this week, so...
Yeah, that's a nice change. We appreciate that. It'd be a very different show, Nintendo Nudes. I think we may either get more Twitch subscribers or less. I'm betting on less.
It might balance out.
Less.
It might balance out, so, but...
Yeah. That's going to be our next venture, is seeing if we can just start streaming slightly topless, right? Hello, watch me play. Right? This is getting R-rated already. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, joining us, I'm excited. I've spoken to this man for probably about 4 or 5 years. Never had him on the podcast, and we said, sure, look at a fellow Canuck residing over on the Eastern time zone, so he's suffering with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Adam Raffel from GamesReview.com. Adam, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. I'm not doing as much work as Jesse is on my house, but doing work.
Nice, excellent, and keeping well and staying well, right?
For sure.
Nice. And of course, folks, we're going to give Adam some time later to talk about what he does, editor-in-chief of GamesReview.com. But if you haven't, guys, head over there, GamesReview.com. Some fantastic work and content being put out there. And we're going to talk about also Adam kind of being a bit of a Disney nerd and geek as well. So we're excited to talk about all of that. Guys, it's been a week, so let's just jump right into it, shall we? And of course, the news is brought to us by you over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Guys, huge thank you to our new patrons who are absolutely tremendous, and we are so thankful for your support every single day. I want to call out a couple of these. Michael, thank you so much for becoming a new patron. Chad, thank you so much as well. Joe, man, thank you guys so much. And there was another one that I know we missed. We had missed it a couple weeks ago, and I said, we're not going to miss it this week, and I need to go find it out. Do you remember who it was, Tim?
No, but I will find out.
I'm throwing Tim on the spot right now. I'm like, Tim, you need to go find this. But guys, thank you so much for your continued support over at patreon.com. Quick reminder here, last 2 months, because life has been kind of sucky, we said, hey, patron's free. Do what you want. We are closing that up. We're ending the kind of 2-month free trial here at the end of May. So what does that mean? I want to ensure if you have been a Patreon person who's been here and you need to change your tiers, or you want to stay the way you are, or you liked coming in for 2 months, having a look about, and you're like, it's not for me, that's okay. Want to make sure you have the time and opportunity to do those adjustments as well. So June 1st, Patreon will be triggering their payment. So if you need to adjust, to move, to leave, that's 100% okay. There are no hard feelings. There are no regrets. We thank you for being part of our community for whatever time that was for you, and thank you so much. So again, reminder, we are going to start charging again in June 1st, so make those adjustments as well. Speaking of some changes to Patreon, Tim or Jesse, what's going on here with, I see some Patreon notes here. What is this?
Yeah, and we did talk about it a little bit this last week, so I won't detail it, but we do want to mention again, starting July 1st, Patreon will start charging sales tax for some tiers and some, depending on what they consider to be taxable or not, depending on whatever state and local laws are requiring them to do so. So that's nothing we can control. I think near June 1st, Patreon themselves will send out an email to everybody letting them know if this will impact you or not. So look for that next week.
Yeah, exactly. So again, there are some changes to Patreon as its own vehicle, and then some adjustments to ours as well. But guys, enough about how we keep the lights on. Let's just jump right into some news here, will we? We're going to kick off with some quick pieces. Tomorrow is a big day, right? Adam, we were talking about this pre-show. Tomorrow is a big day for a lot of games that are coming out. So just as a quick reminder, we got Borderlands Collection coming out tomorrow, BioShock Collection, XCOM 2, we've got Xenoblade Chronicles. Adam, any of those piquing your interest?
Borderlands for sure.
Borderlands for sure. And why Borderlands?
I love that franchise. Love the whole franchise. But, as I get older, my kids get older, more responsibilities. I don't have enough time to sit in front of my Xbox for hours on end, but I can play with my Switch while watching hockey or watching something with my wife or whatever. So that's the perfect package for me.
Nice. For those of you keeping score, yes, within less than 10 minutes, another fellow Canadian has referenced hockey. So that's a great reference point if you need to for your bingo scorecards. Let's do that. Yeah, I'm right on with you there. I'm excited for Borderlands. One of our fantastic patrons, I asked for hey, which of these do you recommend? They gave me this perfect review of hey, go with Borderlands. So I'm going to go with Borderlands tomorrow. I'm excited for this as well. And yeah, it just feels like a perfect game, right? Where you can kind of, doesn't have to be super involved either. Tim, Jesse, any of these picking you guys up?
All of it.
I'm not taking
Tim's all in.
I haven't played all of them. I dabbled with the third BioShock game on the PS4, I believe, is when I had, or was it PS3? Whichever one of those. Because I don't think I got it when it was remastered on the PS4, but I didn't finish it. And it's one of those things, like Adam was saying, is it seems like any of these games would be better if I could play them on the go or be able to, right now just play around the house, I guess. So
yeah, just walking room to room, you're like, man, Borderlands in the toilet is awesome.
That's right.
Borderlands in the boot room is awesome. Right.
But which one am I going to go with first? I don't know yet because I can't get them all at the same time. But
sure,
it's certainly tough decision to make.
Yeah, and that is a big drop. Do you know what I mean? That is a big drop on one day of some pretty fantastic games.
Right.
Jesse, any of these interest you? I know you're a big looter shooter gaming shooting guns fan of games, so I'm sure Borderlands is up your alley, right?
No? Yeah, I'm not. And none of these interest me. And in fact, I have played a little bit of BioShock back when it was new on the PS3. In one of my, every 3 or 4 years, I try a shooter and remember, oh yeah, I don't like these. Yeah, I'm passing on all of them. I just bought 3 games today that I haven't had a chance to play yet, so I have enough of a backlog already.
That's fair. Now, of course, the big one from Nintendo being tomorrow, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Adam, reviews.com got early access to it and had an opportunity to play it and review it as well. Any kind of highlights from your reviewer and kind of their thoughts or impressions?
Not as graphically enhanced as you would have thought it would be. Definitely better. But I think a lot of people are expecting it to kind of get up to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 level, at least closer. It's not. character models definitely improved, but there's still some of that muddied environmental stuff that you're going to notice when you play. We reviewed it actually lower than most people. I think we gave it an 8.5, and I think the average right now is about a 9.
Yeah.
But we praised Future Connected a lot more than other outlets did, which was interesting to read.
So why is that? What gave the praise for Future Connected? And of course, for those who don't know, Future Connected is essentially a 15 to 20 minute standalone. In some ways, kind of like the Golden Torna, right?
I heard it was more than that. I heard it was several hours. Okay.
Yeah. So Adam, do you know why that is, or what's the going on there?
I think it's a lot because of like you're fleshing out some other characters. So our reviewer liked that aspect of fleshing out some of these lesser characters. I forget what her name is. Starts with an M. Off the top of my head, don't remember.
It's okay.
A lot of other outlets, though, are saying, I don't care about those characters, so I don't care about this additional content. Yeah. I would agree, and I was talking to our reviewer this week, and he said he agreed. Like, you're not buying this for that. Like, there's no reason to buy this package just for that. So if you don't plan on playing the main game, like, it's probably a pass. But like, it's a great RPG. Like, I played it back on the Wii. I skipped the remake on the 3DS. I might get this one down the road if I ever feel like there's a lull, because it's a long game. I think I saw a Kotaku article today. It said there's like 95,000 side quests that you could potentially do. I saw that on Twitter today. Wow. So it's a bit much for me right now, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting the time it kind of drops, right? And I think sometimes when you look at like what's in a calendar, right, for Nintendo, and again, so we're just thinking Nintendo first-party games, right? They, you kind of drop an RPG when there's a lull, right? There's that big gap of time, or the audience is different. We saw that a little bit with Animal Crossing. I'd make that argument, right? We drop it in March, and like there's been nothing from Nintendo until we finally get here, and now we're moving into a big RPG. Now, of course, the actual thing we do know that's on Nintendo's calendar, of course, is middle of July, and that's going to be Paper Mario. There it is. Thank you. Right. So I think it's really, really interesting. A lot of people say it's a great RPG to jump into, and I think it's a fascinating game because I mean, was it on the Wii? Or is it on the Wii originally?
Yeah, Wii originally.
Yeah.
The Wii originally, 3DS, right?
Which was a bad remake.
Yeah, bad remake, and then it finds its way on the Switch. This thing has been.
It was new 3DS only. It wasn't run on an original 3DS.
And I've looked at it a couple of times because I remember the Xenoblade. Like everyone talks positively of Xenoblade, right? I'm not a huge JRPG fan, but it always kind of drew my attention. And I was like, I remember they had like sale, and it was like $20, and I'm like, oh, should I buy it? But I chose not to. But it looks like there's a very rabid fan base for this game, right? There's a very rabid enthusiasm for most of the Xenoblade Chronicles, which I think is so interesting because it's a game that sometimes feels, or a franchise that feels very kind of forgotten about in some ways. I think Fire Emblem kind of overtook it as that kind of JRPG or RPG kind of game that we think of, but Monolith and Nintendo has done a banger of a job kind of building a franchise off it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else here? So, Tim, you don't know you're going to pick up tomorrow?
No, I'm kind of feeling it out, I guess. So it's probably going to be. I mean, I like the shooters. I like the Borderlands. The sound of that. But then I also didn't get to play the first BioShock. So, and I might not buy the collections. I'll probably just buy each game individually and play them as I go along.
And that is a great point, right? If you go into your brick and mortar store, of course, if you're able to go into a brick and mortar store, or if Amazon is possibly shipping it out to you, it's a full collection, right? Of course, if you are going into the eShop, you can buy the games separately. The BioShock ones you can buy all separately or as a collection. With Borderlands, you can get either the Handsome Jack collection or the Game of the Year edition. Now, Game of the Year is only basically Borderlands 1. Handsome Jack is Borderlands 2 plus the prequel, which is the one that was on the Vita. So there's a little bit of kind of splitting and choosing what you want. As a reminder, big downloads associated with them as well. Borderlands 2 collection is coming in at 42 gigs. BioShock 31 gigs, and XCOM is 24 gigs. That is on the retail version right? So so again, you're probably looking at the fact that your card is only probably 6 or 8 additional gigs if you're solely going digitally. So just be very aware of this. And I kind of want to maybe have a conversation, sit in this pocket a little bit. Jesse, am I wrong? Did we not hear that they were working on a 32 gig memory or card for a while, or cartridge?
No, I think it's available. I think I forget who, but someone's used it. It's just more money at the cost level for the publisher that no publisher or one publisher was willing to actually pay it. So they go with the smaller size card and make people download.
It feels a little bit ridiculous. Like if you could say, hey, it's all on the one card, like with that, I don't know, Adam, what's your thought on this kind of like, here, buy a cartridge and then, by the way, get the rest of the downloadable content later. And maybe I'm just flustered about it because that's what maybe the other systems do a lot of, like big day one patches and put it in. But like, it just kind of feels a bit sleazy in some ways. What are your thoughts?
It actually annoys me with all these big downloads you gotta do, because so I live in a fairly what would be considered a rural community. We're just getting like fiber internet installed now. For me to download 42 gig is like an overnight thing. So even when I pick up tomorrow, because I'll be picking up retail, even when I pick up tomorrow, like I'm not playing it.
Yeah. Because
the downloads are so big. I mean, I get the cutting cost side on the publishing side of things, but would I pay the extra money? I don't think so, because Justin, you'll know in Canada games are already expensive enough at $80.
Yep.
These ones are coming in cheaper, but
60.
Yeah, but in general, $80. If you're telling me it's going to be another 5 or another whatever round number, 5 or 10, to get a bigger card, I'm at the same time, I'm not sure I'm there at the price point either. So
that's fair. Yeah. And of course,
Swag in the chat says Witcher 3 is the 32 gig game. That's all on the cart.
Is that all on cart? I thought there was a patch also.
All on cart.
Well, there might be patches to clean up
patches.
bugs.
Yeah, no, I thought it was 32 and then another.
It's not a you have to download this in order to play the game.
Okay.
It can be played without patching if you don't have internet.
Okay. Now I would also be remiss. Obviously, we're giving 2K a bit of a browbeating in relation to this. 2K is not the only one that's done this, right? So we've seen Bethesda do this,
which is why 2K. Everyone has done it, which is why 2K thinks they can get away with it.
Right. We saw obviously the Wolfenstein. Right. That was a big one. Right. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Outer Worlds, which comes out next week, is doing the exact same thing as well. And I think that's about a 31 gig update as well. So this seems to be a little bit of the norm. Adam, you're saying no?
Is there a cart for that? I don't even think there's a cart for that.
There is a cart for that because I've got it pre-ordered at EB Games. Yeah.
I saw the packaging. Like the PR sent me the packaging. And on the packaging image that I have, it does say digital download only. Like no cart included.
Outer Worlds.
Well,
okay, that was the old box. The new
that's the old
when
one?
when they delayed it, they decided we're delaying it. So because we're delaying it, and we feel bad, we're gonna put it all in the cart, and it's not gonna be digital download.
Okay. Then there have been physical releases, and there have been physical releases that had no cart, only a download code.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know.
And by the way, it was Mark Ham. I don't know if you mentioned his name, but that's who we forgot the last few times to mention for the Patreon.
Thank you, Mark Ham. You are a gentleman and a scholar, a leader among men.
Whimsical
Cool
Jack.
There it is. Yes, I apologize that we've missed you. Deeply apologize. Yeah, so that's a little bit. So games are coming out, folks. That's always a good thing, right? I like games coming out. It feels like we kind of went through this kind of quiet period, and we're starting to find our feet under us again from a gaming perspective. So lots coming out. Speaking of games that are not coming out, if for those of you that are playing at home, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which was originally supposed to be released in mid-May and then was delayed to May 28th, well, sure look it, May 28th has come and gone, and no Star Wars Racer. So no announcement for when it will be released. I'm not 100% sure. Jesse, you threw this in here. Anything else we got to be aware of there?
It looks like Tim might have put in the Twitter announcement. I'll read that shortly. But I also double-checked the PlayStation 4 release also didn't happen. So at least it isn't just, we'll do one console and not the other. So both are delayed. So the Twitter announcement by the developer. We're excited to share our Star Wars Episode 1 Racer with you soon. Unfortunately, due to the ongoing work from home requirements across the industry, the game will be further delayed on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. We'll be back with an update as soon as possible, and that was on May 11th. So apparently they knew on May 11th that the 28th wasn't going to happen after they said the 28th was going to happen.
Right. That's not good. Not good. Speaking of other interesting news tidbits from Nintendo, just to be aware of, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition gets in a release date of August 27th, 2020. That came down the pipeline today. Also, what else do we got here?
I'm excited for that one, by the way.
Are you?
Yeah, because I had good memories with the family playing that on GameCube with the Game Boy Advances all hooked up to it and using that capability. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so
I'm curious about that one. And I know it can be played one player, but it's not really meant to be.
Yep.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing more on that.
Okay. Another piece of information, Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics for the Nintendo Switch, which is coming out next week. A couple pieces of information regarding local versus online play. There is a free download to allow multiplay with someone else who bought the game and is for local play only. But for those who want to play online, will require a purchase of the game. So what we're saying there, Jesse, keep me honest, and I see Adam, you're nodding as well. If it is local play, local as in, hey, I'm in the room or in the house, it's a free download as long as someone has the actual game. But if I'm wanting to play online, I need a copy of the game as well.
Yeah, we talked about the free download last week as well, but at the time we didn't know if it also allowed online play.
But we did speculate most likely it would be this. So
right, yeah. we doubted it would, and it was confirmed thanks to Game Explained that it does not work. It's local only.
Nice. Adam, are you excited for Clubhouse Games 51 Classic Worldwide Classics? No. That's fair. That's fair.
I'm probably more excited for this than I should be, but I don't know why. But it's probably more because of, it's just your basic board games and card games and all that kind of stuff that I don't have to break out of the cabinet. I can just break out the Switch and I don't have to worry about cleanup.
Which is weird because I love board games.
Yes.
Like, I love board games. I have shelves in the basement with over 100. But like this,
maybe that's why you don't like it, because you like that.
Possible. I like to get them to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the one that has to clean up everything. So that's why I'm like.
So much easier to say, just put the Switch away. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Just okay. We're done. But I had a lot of fun with the DS version, so I'm excited for it. I'm excited to be able to play with the family local wise. So, and maybe even do community type stuff with the online stuff. So look forward to that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Excellent.
There was word that I don't remember who said it first, but they maybe about running a chess tournament, and that was like before this game was even announced. So they were planning on. It wasn't necessarily anything Nintendo related, just something to set up with however mechanism they could find. But at least this gives a good way to do it if everyone who wants to participate has a copy.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone plays. All right, let's jump into some rumors, shall we? This is always one of my favorite times of the year. And the reason is just on the eve of E3, right? You can kind of smell it in the air, the energy, the enthusiasm, PR firms scurrying about to get information out. And unfortunately, much like when you walk in on Christmas Eve and you find your mom and dad wrapping presents, the surprise is taken away from you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we've had some rumors and leaks that have kind of occurred through the last day or two that we're going to talk a little bit about here and try and understand maybe what the validity is and maybe shake out what's happened. So if you're like, hey, I don't like rumors, I don't like leaks, pause and come back in probably 20 minutes when we've talked more about this. One of the first rumors comes out this way. Metroid Prime Trilogy, the game that doesn't seem to exist but maybe exists, rumor is at it again. Swedish retailers have listed Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Nintendo Switch with a release date of June 19th. So that is 3 weeks from now. Adam, first, I want to come to you and ask, do you think this is actually happening? But second, Adam, I hear you hate Metroid. What is up with that?
It's pretty simple. I've just
Okay.
never connected with Metroid games.
Okay.
Like, I put them in, I purchased them. Biggest way. Like, if I could look back on video games I've purchased and I would look and say now what were a waste of money, Metroid would be right at the top of the list.
Wow.
Like, just didn't hook me, didn't play them much.
Both 2D and 3D?
The whole gambit.
Okay.
Really?
Because I know a lot of people, me included, who like one and not the other. Like I'm a fan of the 2D games, most of them, but didn't like Prime.
But I think about this rumor, and there are games I think Nintendo will drop as like just we're dropping this in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like this is not one of them. Like this
No?
is something people want, and so I think there's missed hype and a build up.
Okay.
But that's like my opinion. But like
No.
if they were to drop, like if they were to tell me, hey, we're dropping, I don't even know, Paper Mario, the GameCube Paper Mario game. We're gonna drop that in 3 weeks. I think that is more of a Nintendo thing to do than Metroid, just because there's that, especially with the Origami King video with that little teaser on the end.
Yeah.
Like this is what people want, and I
Yeah.
feel like they'd milk it.
That's a good point. I like it. Okay. Tim, what do you think?
I don't want to hear them anymore. I'm tired of hearing the rumor because it gets my hopes up too much, and especially because I am a fan of the Prime trilogy games, and but it's kind of funny this came up because I actually took my Wii U upstairs, connected it next to my nightstand, and kind of playing it handheld there, so I could probably, I wanted to play Prime there. And all of a sudden this started coming up again, and sure, soon I bet you as soon as I start playing this game that it for sure will probably come out. So if anybody wants this game to come out, I'll go ahead and start playing it.
Do it.
It's the Mother 3 of this generation.
Yeah. And this is the interesting thing, right? Like, it's a rumor that we've not has there ever been any actual evidence? Do you know what I mean, of its existence? Like, Nintendo's never claimed it. No, I'm not saying like Nintendo evidentially says this, right? But like, usually we have a leaked screenshot or something. So like, and how long this rumor has been floating out there, we have not received anything. It just feels like I just don't know if it comes to fruition. Interestingly enough, it's the same time that we probably have E3, right? So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. Fingers crossed if you're a Metroid Prime fan that it does indeed occur, but who knows? The other interesting one that actually leaked out today was from Amazon France. And Amazon France has been loading up some games up into their hopper, their sales system, essentially. And they have listed some games for the Switch. So they have a total of, I think it's 14 games listed. 3 games are from Bethesda. 1 is Switch only. 2 are multi-platform. 2 games from Square. Both are Switch only. 2 games from Warner, 1 is Switch only, 1 is multi-platform. 2 games from Ubisoft, 2 multi-platform. 1 game from Take-Two, multi-platform. 1 game from Capcom, Switch only, and then 4 Nintendo games listed as well. Do you, first and foremost, any thoughts on any of these? Is this potentially rumor or true in any way? And
this sounds like E3 prep if we were having an E3.
That's exactly it, right? It very much feels like E3 prep for sure, right? Any guesses on what some of these are, maybe? I know, Adam, you and I were talking a little bit about pre-show. Ubisoft is in here, but it's a multi-platform one.
Yeah, so that wouldn't be it.
Yeah, because you were thinking maybe Rabbids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm thinking for Bethesda, it's got to be Doom Eternal, right? The Switch only.
Has that one not been listed yet?
No, I don't think it's been listed yet.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that's definite.
Yeah.
Unless they do like a Rabbids game that doesn't have Mario characters in it, that then they could do multi-console.
Mm-hmm. Could be. Yeah, I don't know.
Rayman or porting a Rayman over? I don't know. Another one?
Could be.
We haven't had a Rayman 2 port in a while.
Yeah. 2 games from Square, both Switch only. Any thoughts here? Would Final Fantasy Chronicles be from Square?
Well, if they didn't already list it, that could be one of them.
Well, yeah, that is from Square because it was a Square PR that I read that from this morning.
Right.
So that could be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to make a joke, but now I don't remember.
Is
what
it
I
Bravely
said.
Default 2 Square?
Mm.
Yeah, that's Square.
That one also hasn't been listed yet, though.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's
what
a
I don't
TBD.
know.
Yeah, that's been announced, but not listed anywhere. No release date.
Yeah, that could be it then.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, Capcom, that Switch only had better be the Disney Afternoon Collection, or else we're coming for you.
Is it just
Right?
one?
It's just one. It's Capcom,
Yes.
one game, Switch only. It better be the Disney Afternoon Collection.
Oh, I remember what my joke was for Square Enix. It'll be a chibi version of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay, I like it.
Like they gave us Final Fantasy 15 mobile version.
Okay, I like it very much. This kind of leads us into this kind of leads us into one of our actual questions. And Adam, I'm going to throw to you first here, and bear with me 1 second here. I had a question.
Did they list any EA games in that list of?
There's no EA games there at all.
That's interesting.
Shocking.
Okay. The question that comes up from us here, this comes from Simon. Simon asks, or says, you guys do a great podcast. Well, of course we do, Simon. Thank you very kindly. Will Gary ever be back full-time? It's tough to say, to be honest, Simon. Gary is always part of our team. Life is busy for a lot of us, and so when he comes back, we're always happy to have him back when he does. And wake-up call is very early there for him. Question, Adam, I'm going to throw this to you first. Which game releases are you most hoping get sprung on us this year? So again, this would be a game we obviously probably don't have an actual knowledge for sure, but what game do you hope gets sprung on us?
There's got to be stuff for Mario, right?
Okay.
Like that's where I go instantly.
Yep.
Like, and I feel like if they were gonna take some of those, like, do I think we're getting a new Mario title? I don't think so, unless it's another sports collection that is kind of just a play on what they've done in the past. When it comes to some of these GameCube titles, they could potentially, as people are really hoping for, I see those now as very much eShop kind of releases outside of something like a Galaxy 1 and 2 collection as a physical thing.
Yeah.
I'd put decent money, I think, on that.
Okay.
And that's not even a hopeful thing because it's probably some of my least favorite 3D Mario titles, the Galaxy 1 and 2. So it's not even like me sitting here being really hopeful that this comes. Like that would not actually shock me this year.
So I mean, so if those are kind of like your non-shocks, right? But like, what is it? You know, Adam, you're waking up, you're rolling over, you see the press release. What is it that like shoots you out of bed and is like, holy, what's blowing the top off you?
Don't make me beep you again.
Yeah, I know. That's why I stopped.
A good Mario Golf title would shock me.
That's little shots fired there.
Good. So
did you not like the 3DS version?
No.
Okay, so when was the last good Mario Golf title? And I'm hoping you're going to say NES Golf.
Toadstool Tour.
Okay.
On the GameCube.
All right. Good response. That's a deep cut that I don't think people would have thought. And it is interesting, right? Like, I mean, I do think that we're missing some more Mario sports games, right? We had Mario Tennis, but it feels like, you know, soccer, strikers, or golf. Those feel like natural fits for the platform. It feels like the natural next progression.
Yeah, we've never had a football game that would, not soccer, but football, like American football. I think that would be an interesting take on it. That's something they've never done before.
Yeah, no, that'd be interesting as well.
Could you imagine if that was a collaboration between Nintendo and EA?
And the NFL, like just snatch them all together in a blender and see what happens.
Mario,
actually, more specifically,
wasn't there a game with an NBA license that had Mario characters in it once, or did it not have the NBA license?
Maybe the commercials. I don't know.
Maybe
I think it was GameCube. It was
okay.
I don't remember, but that's ringing a bell.
Instead of the NFL, it's the CFL. It's the Canadian Football League.
There you go.
And it's just politer, right? And it's just
I've never watched a game in my life, Justin.
Really?
The XFL that plays a game and a half and then has to cancel because of the pandemic.
Blockfort says the NBA Streets on the GameCube had Mario characters.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Man, I love our chat. I love our chat because they're like, here's exactly what you're missing. Let me tell you what it is. It's what I call the chat is the keep us honest group. So thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate that. That is awesome. All right. Okay, folks. What's blowing your hair back there, Tim? You wake up. I send you a DM through Discord like I do, and it doesn't say, "Hey Tim, I need thumbnail art." What is it that you're excited about?
So there's several things, but it's more curious than excited. But I'm still stuck on what Doug Bowser said before about them bringing over a 3DS title or two to the Switch, and I want to know what that is. You know, is it their, Samus Returns? Are they bringing that over because it was a late arrival to 3DS? Is it something else, that they're bringing over that was a 3DS classic, maybe 3D Land along with 3D World? Who knows? I don't know. But I'm really curious about that, and I'd be shocked to see what that is, how they bring over a 3DS game over to the Switch. And I mean, they've done it before, obviously, with DS games and stuff like that. But I'm really curious about that. And I have been surprised with EA starting to bring more games over too. So anything in relation to that, especially a Madden game, would definitely blow my top off. It's just like I would be jumping up and down and screaming and all over Twitter for that, because I'm a football fan. Well, obviously here because got that on, but I've been wanting an NFL game on the go again ever since the last one they did with the first release on the 3DS, which supposedly is really good, but I never got around to getting that one. But
yeah, we'll probably just release a GameCube version of Madden on Switch and call it a day.
Well, we've talked about this a million times, obviously, on the show, but just even if it is a retro type Madden game where they go back and use some of the sprites that they've used before or update some sprite versions, that would be kind of cool. I think I would play that. So, but partnerships always excite me. So if there's something that they come up with, like we were joking about the EA NFL Mario partnership, that would be be surprising to me. So yeah, any of those type of things off the top of my head would definitely be like a woo.
Nice. Yeah. Jesse?
Pikmin 4.
The chat was calling out here a couple moments ago as well. Pikmin 4.
That's the game I'd like to see.
All right.
I'd be okay for a 3 re-release on Switch, but I really want to see a 4.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to make mine pretty simple, and this is a little bit of leaning into the rumor pool. I think Adam, you mentioned a little bit here a couple moments ago. For me, I'd love to do Super Mario Sunshine. I played it only ever so briefly. I didn't have a GameCube, so I have totally missed that, and I feel like that's a blind spot in my Nintendo experience, kind of Mario, 3D Mario. So that for me, and I'm going to say the obvious one here. People are going to like, yeah, for sure, Justin. Apex Legends. Right? Oh, yeah, that's the other one right now that like if that's actually true and does come to fruition, that will, knowing how much time I've sunk into Fortnite, that would blow my top off. I would love it. Love it.
Justin, in order to get Sunshine on the Switch, you're going to have to play it on the GameCube. You're going to have to start playing it.
Yeah.
In order, just like I have to play Metroid Prime Trilogy.
Yeah.
Or to appear.
I haven't looked into it much, but is there truth behind the controller issue with the triggers for playing Sunshine on a Switch because depending on how much pressure you put on the trigger, right, was how far FLUDD would shoot the water. And I heard that's not possible on the Pro controller.
It's not controller. It's not possible on any controller, because the Switch uses digital shoulders instead of analog shoulders. And they could simulate the click by using ZR, ZL, but the actual analog portion of it can't be done.
It's like the same kind of idea, I think, behind Metroid Prime Trilogy is they would have to improve on the controls if they're going to bring that over to the Switch to make it playable on the go or on your TV. And so it's going to have to be remastered, I think. So especially with some of the issues the game had even on the GameCube. So I think
one of my original predictions or wants when the Switch launched was to have a new set of Joy-Cons that did have analog triggers that would then be useful after a system update. I still theoretically could work, but until that happens, then I don't think we'll see any of those GameCube games on there.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I mean, Nintendo could also be like, and here's the new Joy-Cons to go with this, to go with the game. Do you know what I mean? And then you're opening.
The problem is they'd have purchasing the new Joy-Cons would be required, which splitting their audience, and they don't like doing that either.
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22, right? All right. So I mean, those are some rumors that we have heard. All right. So those are our rumors. Let's get into a little bit of let's discuss, shall we?
Speaking of Metroid.
Right, a little bit for sure, right? So this one comes from via Nintendo Life and was reported by My Nintendo as news as well. Virtuos, is that how we're saying this? Virtuos, which is a porting company, right?
Yep, one of those porting. List off all the things they brought over.
They believe that they can bring any current gen game to the Nintendo Switch. They have brought over L.A. Noire, Final Fantasy remakes, Starlink Battle of Atlas, Dark Souls Remastered, as well as their upcoming titles, the Outer Worlds, BioShock Collection, Borderlands Collection, and the XCOM Collection. So they're kind of like right now the kind of the heavy hitters right now for kind of moving these big ports over there. Now we've got some other companies in play there as well. Panic Button, I believe, is the ones who did obviously Rocket League, and I believe they did Warframe. There's a question mark behind that one, but I believe they did. There's another game as well that Panic Button.
Didn't they do the Doom?
Yeah, Panic Button did Doom as well. So we're seeing these porting companies come over. This is kind of a little bit of a question of like, all right, so if you've got a porting company who's got a little bit of swagger, who's saying, we can do it all, what do you got for us? My question to Adam is, what game do we send them now and say, all right, show me what you got?
I would like to see an MMO make it over to the Switch.
Oh, okay. Anyone specifically?
ESO, Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay, all right.
Because by all accounts, Skyrim did really well on the Switch. Mm-hmm. I remember a bit after launch, Bethesda came out, and whoever the porting company was for that came out and said, this exceeded our expectations for a game that's 6-7 years old. And has been released on 360, PS3, Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Switch. They were really impressed with it. I would love to see it. I'm not big into MMOs, but that's one I go to probably once a week to run around in. And I don't do a lot of the social interaction. I do a lot of just the playing by myself. My siblings have it, so we'll get together and play. But I would like to see something like that, an MMO.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that'd be pretty good actually. Yeah. Jesse, what about you? What do you think?
I don't know, but I was thinking that their statement was, I'm thinking of the meme. That's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I could say Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've said the second time I said that today, and hopefully not Chibis.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like it.
Not that it would change my decision to play it, but still it would be interesting to see on a Switch.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Tim, what do you think?
I want to hear yours first because there's a few, so I want to hear yours first.
All right. So I've got two answers. I had two answers. One of them there's the other one. I was like, where did it go? I found it. So the first one, actually, Tim, I'm taking yours. I'd like to see Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes.
Right. I'd like to see. All right. And EA is saying they want to do more with the Switch. Let's see what you got. Right. Let's see. And because I think that would be pushing it. The other one, not even released yet, is Cyberpunk, right, from CD Projekt Red. Right. We know they Witcher 3. Right. They were able. Who was supporting company on Witcher 3? Was that Panic Button too? It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't
Source or something. I'll look it up.
I'll check.
It wasn't Saber, was it?
I think
Saber,
maybe,
yeah.
I think it was Saber, right? Because there was another, and didn't Saber just recently also say, because they're the porting company that's bringing over World War Z over, and they were like, basically the comments was, okay, we're doing it, but it's not great.
Yeah,
like
it was Saber.
They were kind of very much like, we're really pushing what we're doing here. But yeah, I think those would be two games that I'd like to see, and I think that's always the challenge, right, of kind of being an only Nintendo console. And I think this is why we could have a debate going down this corridor here of like, that's why Stadia kind of interested me for a hot second.
Correction.
Right. But this idea of there are fantastic looking games and ones that just look like a ton of fun, but we know that either the Switch just can't handle it, or it's just outside the realm, right? It just doesn't work. It's too much. I do kind of like a little bit of swagger here, right? Their statement of kind of like, what do you got? Bring it on. But I do think it'll be interesting as, they're talking, their statement was about current gen, right? So we're talking Xbox One and PS4, and we know we're on the precipice of Xbox Series X waffle maker, right? And the PlayStation 5, right? We know that we're very close over to that thing. So once we move on to that divide, we'll sure look at you're kind of gone probably.
Yeah, so those were definitely on my list, but two that stand out to me are from the devs that start with Rock, and that's Rocksteady and Rockstar. I would like to see their Batman Arkham games come over, and GTA 5 and Red Dead come over. I think those are plenty of games that have room to come over. And
considering GTA 5 originally was PS3, Xbox 360.
Yes.
That should, you could have an upgrade of that, but yet still toned down from what's currently available, on the Switch. Yeah. And same with the Arkham games. Everything except for Knight was previous gen.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be too troublesome.
Yeah, and I do kind of think that, right? We talked a little bit about before, and I think I made a video about what games could, EA is like, hey, yeah, we should get into the Switch game now, right? And I was like, well, what games are they going to do, right? You've got to look at a catalog. You're probably looking at 2017, 2015, right? Somewhere in there in relation to.
If it was asking for a competent FIFA fort.
Well, sure, look at right. But you're probably looking in that kind of range of those kind of games, right? So maybe Dragon Age Inquisition, Titanfall, right? Kind of games like that. But I do agree with you, Tim. GTA kind of makes sense. But I do find it interesting that Outer Worlds, which we know, looks like it looks pretty well. It came out in October. We're coming out, and it was supposed to be launch day and date with the Switch, but did get delayed, right? And was supposed to come out in March, got delayed again. This is pretty close to almost a day and date in some ways. I don't know. It feels like these porting companies are getting better at it for sure. Adam, has there been
that article I read that they were interviewing Virtuos on? They were saying that their new benchmark is XCOM 2, because it was like squeezing a sponge, I think was their analogy, to try to get as much out of the Switch to be able to run XCOM 2, and that's their new benchmark now, they said. So whatever games they're gonna bring over again, that they got to do better than XCOM 2. So apparently XCOM 2 is pretty tough to get over, but they did it.
I think there's healthy competition with these porting companies. So I think once The Witcher came over and people saw how well it actually ported, that made people go, okay, there's more that can be ported than we thought, just based on that, because that's a heavy game to port.
Yeah, and that's good that they have that relationship, or that these companies have this relationship to compete as well and do better than the other. And there's not just one, because I think it started off with just one that was porting, especially with the Doom, right? So now that there's more than one, we can get more of these games brought over. Like if Saber's still working with CD Red, are they going to start bringing over, like you said, the Cyberpunks and the their other games. So
Yeah. I'm very interested. I wonder like how that level of engagement begins. And so what I mean by that is like, does Saber knock on like, CD Projekt's door and is like, hey, so we think we could do this, right? And can we try? Or does CD Projekt go, what we should do? Like, can we try and get someone to put this game here? Do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder from a business perspective where that level of engagement starts.
probably
Right?
from the beginning, it was probably they had to knock on the doors to say they could do it. And now that they've shown proof that they can do it, now they've got people knocking on their door, probably, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Right now they're, and I wonder like again, and I keep ragging on EA. And I probably should. Eventually people are gonna be like, why doesn't EA return any of your emails? This is probably why EA doesn't do that.
Yeah, where's
right
my
there with
burnout
you.
code?
I'm right there
What
with
was
you,
that,
Justin.
Adam?
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, EA just doesn't return any of our stuff to start off with, right? Well, that's a whole different conversation we can have. But like I do kind of like wonder if they say, okay, we're going to bring more games to Switch. Do they just turn to their back catalog and go to a porting company and say, here you go, what can you do? Right.
It'd be interesting to see what does go on behind the scenes. Like if when CD Red went to Saber or whatever way it went, and Saber brought The Witcher over, how much work, how many man hours, for lack of a better word, did CD Projekt Red have to give up out of their Cyberpunk budget to get this done? Was it nothing? Because then you got to imagine this is fairly easy money.
Yeah. I would think, and I wonder if it's something along the lines that it's something like if you come knock on my door and you're like, hey, we want to do this. And so I'm CD, right? So I might say, you can go ahead. But by the way, like you're not like I'll give you Tim, or I'll give you one or two of my staffers, right? Who kind of you're the steward now. You're the product owner, the product steward. You go work with Saber. If you got to go spend months with them, whatever that is. But by the way, like this is on you. So here's the deal. You're gonna go do this game. You're gonna bring it out to market and sell it, and I'll make you a deal. You get 70% of it, and we get 30%, right? Because we're the IP, where the game's already created, but you're doing the workhorse. I would be very interested to see what that contract looks like, right? In relation to, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say like Witcher just celebrated, was it 5 years? I think this week, right? And they talked about how the sales continue, right? And I think that I was listening to, I think it was kind of funny they were talking about it. Was The Witcher in 2019 or was it 2018? It was 2019, wasn't it? It was like last October.
That. Oh, I mean, on the Switch?
Yeah.
It was last year on the Switch.
Yeah, last year.
Oh my gosh, I'm losing time, folks. But like, they continue to grow. Like that base continues, and I mean, obviously they've got, they had a good install to start off with, and then they kind of dips down. They bring the Switch. It has kind of a new life there, and then it kind of aligns very nicely with the TV show, right? Like it just kind of, it seems like they were just hitting the stride really, really well, and it's kind of just become part of a like here's a great example. I've never played The Witcher 3, but I feel like I should, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Because everybody has talked about it in some way, or like a lot. Again, it's kind of like that blind spot, and now I'm like, well, why wouldn't I? It's accessible. I've got a friend, and he's like, every night, me and my wife sit down on the couch and we play The Witcher 3 together. And she just sits with me and we'll make these decisions and we'll work through it. But he's like, but that's our time and just the enjoyment in the story. So it's one of those ones that I think I should pick up, but I just haven't yet.
These ports do open up a brand new audience, though.
Yeah.
People that don't own these other consoles, but people who might have access to them but never would.
Yeah.
So for example, my wife's playing Skyrim right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've had Skyrim on 360. I've had Skyrim on Xbox One. I've had Skyrim on PSVR. She's never touched it. But the second she could get it on a Switch and she could lay on the couch just with the Switch in her hand and play it, and now she's dozens of hours.
Yeah, there's something so interesting about that idea. Do you know what I mean? Like again, because you're like, I could just lay on the couch with a controller and watch it on the big screen, right? But it's now portable. It's in my hand. There's something intimate about that. It changes accessibility in a way that doesn't really like logically, I don't know. I find it just doesn't like logically make sense. But I've heard people who are like, oh yeah, I have this game on Xbox, whatever. But now that I have it on the Switch, now that I have it there, right? And you said that already earlier about Borderlands. You're like, I played it before, but now I have it on the go. Now I have it in my pocket. Now, and it's like, that's an interesting psychology about. There's something in that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, in my house, it's competing for those screens.
Yeah.
Like I've got 3 kids, 3 different ages, 3 different interests in shows, and I only have 2 TVs.
Yeah.
And so, if it's a rainy day outside and people are clamoring for a television, I got my Switch.
Yeah, exactly.
My wife has her Switch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of, and sometimes I forget, like, I shouldn't say I forget, but like, we know it works, right? But just kind of the simplicity of that idea, right? Like, I have my dock at my other station, my TVs, and I'm like, I'm just going to pick it up and whoop, there it is, right? It just easily transitions over. It's flawlessly. There's this kind of magic in that event, right? And then to have these full-blown worlds and events that are occurring, I think it's fantastic. I see I'm getting some slack here. Luke Lore is calling me up for not playing The Witcher. So, all right.
You're not the only one.
Yeah. No. I wouldn't expect you.
I was just going to say, the funny thing is my wife and I was just talking about that today because she would finish the series on Netflix and was like, I kind of want to play the game now. And I was like,
I still have to watch it. I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either.
My wife has watched it, but I haven't.
Yeah, same here. But she wants to play it, and maybe I told her we can just pick up one game, and since it's all on the cart, and with obviously a slight download or whatever, but just play it on the cart. She can play it on hers, and then I can play it on mine. Or we can do like what you were talking about, Justin, about just playing in front of the TV and playing together and making choices together. So, but I also told her about the other one too, the other Kingdom one or whatever it was called. I forget. But
it came out in January, February, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Antonio reviewed it for us.
Yeah. And sorry, Adam, go ahead.
The interesting thing was, like, Justin, you talk about like transitioning from your TV to handheld mode to free it up for somebody else or something else. Like I'm at a point where like this is where I'm at.
Yeah, you're always on a Lite, hey?
Always. I bet you I haven't turned on my regular Switch in 5 or 6 months.
Really? Wow. Interesting.
Thornbreaker, by the way.
Thornbreaker,
Thronebreaker.
Thronebreaker. But and that's the lovely part about it, right? Is it and that's very different than like if you have an Xbox and I have an Xbox, I can guarantee you there's only one way we play it. Do you know what I mean? Like there it is, right? But it's how we look at it and how we use it differently, right? But it's the same accessibility to that content, which is amazing, right? Because so for you, like you've got the Switch Lite. I don't have a Switch Lite. I thought about it for a while, but I'm like, I got one in my hand. I'm like, I just don't like the feel of it. It just feels a little bit small for me. But like when I have the other normal Switch that's only a little bit bigger, I was like, this feels right. So like we're playing on the same platform, but differing versions and SKUs of it and using it differently. That's personal to what we need it to be. Right? It's kind of meeting the gamer where they are as opposed to the gamer meeting the console where it is. And what I mean by that is it's the console. It's at the home, right? It has to be there.
And Nintendo's always been very good at that.
Yeah. So.
And one of the things that I like about what they're doing more with the Switch, especially developers, is trying to work in that cross-save feature with especially the PC area, right? With a lot of the games that are popular in the PC and people who are PC gamers being able to play some of those games on the go with the Switch. I think was a smart move in a lot of cases. So I hope they bring more and more of that over. In fact, I think The Witcher even had an update. Witcher 3 had an update where you could play it on the PC and then save it and then go play it on your Switch.
Yeah, I did that with Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome.
That's exciting to me. Even though I don't play as much or nearly at all on my PC, that option is there for me. And that's what excites me, is to have the options.
Yeah, absolutely. I have seen some more people in the chat here on Twitch. The Block 4 is saying no, play The Witcher, and I am calling you out. So, Luke Lore, I know you're not calling me. I'm just giving you a hard time as well. I think you guys may have convinced me. You may have convinced me. I may need to pick up the Witcher as well. But that backlog is already getting massive. But it was funny. Like I think the first game that really made me stand up and go, okay, wow, there are things that are coming to the Switch that are not just either Nintendo games or the indies. right? Which is kind of what we had in the Wii U, was the moment, it sounds funny, was the moment Rocket League was revealed. Because I had never played Rocket League until it was on the Switch. But I remember I was like, that looks super cool. And that was the first one that really struck me as like, maybe anything could be possible, right? It was Rocket League, and then there was Fortnite, and then it just began to open up. And it'll be interesting to see, like, if we fast forward this conversation in 2 years from now, what other games are now there that we didn't think would be there as well.
Yeah. Earlier, Ibisel asked, what's the over-under on any new ports only working on Switch 1.5 versus the original Switch? I don't think that would be a problem, because my understanding is the new processor still runs at the same clock rate as the original. It's just more energy efficient. And the new processor is in the Lite as well, which is why the Lite had the better battery life than the OG. And then the latest update has even more battery life. So, but I don't think that's an issue.
Nice, excellent. All right, we're going to jump off this, but I want to throw in a question here. Speaking of kind of other consoles, Adam, I'm going to throw this to you. This comes from Rigo, and Rigo asks, one of the features I enjoy in the Xbox 360 arcade was the trials of each game that you can try before buying. My question is, should Nintendo implement that feature for indie games? So should indie games have trial features? Adam, what do you think?
Is that Nintendo's call, or is that the developer-publisher call?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's probably the developer, but I think Xbox was like, that's what we're going to do, and probably made it a mandate, right?
Yeah, Xbox it was when Xbox Live Arcade first launched, it was a mandate. There had to be a demo.
Were those games on Xbox Live Arcade, was Microsoft backing them in some way, or was it just a promotional deal?
That I don't know.
What do you think with demos on games? And he's calling out indie games specifically. What do you think?
I'm a fan of demos for games for anything. Like with Steam now, like you can buy and return within whatever amount of time. Nintendo doesn't have that feature.
It's like 2 hours.
I think demos are great because there's so many franchises I think about, and I'm like, I might enjoy that. But then, as we were saying earlier, Justin, the cost of games in Canada is so much that you're like, man, am I going to risk $80 plus tax? So by the time you're done in Ontario, it's like $92.
Yeah.
On something I don't know if I'm going to love.
Yeah.
And so anytime I see a demo, because there have been demos for games, and I love when the content carries over the main game. And this isn't just for indies. This is for like mainstream AAA titles as well. I just love it. So if there was a policy, I can't see them having a policy, because I think it becomes restrictive and it requires more work out of development teams that might be really small already.
Yeah.
Because I've talked with people who are in development, and it's not simply like, you hit start and then you program in a stop point for a demo. Like there's a whole other bit of work that has to be done, and when you're dealing with small studios already, I think it'd be hard to force them into a demo.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyone else contrary to, I think demos are a good idea?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think demos are a good idea. I have no argument against it.
Yeah, I think the other nice part, and I think especially for like indies, right? Like if it's a mainstream, like a big title, you're probably already have a pretty good, like if it's a Nintendo game, I've probably got a pretty good gut decision whether I'm going to do it or not. Like it's that idea of, I know the product, I know the franchise, I probably feel pretty good about it, right? But I think the interesting thing about indies is having those demos allows you to have a taste of something, right? That maybe you're like, well, I don't know, maybe not, but if I have that taste, that's enough that I might buy into, right? And I think that's an important part, because again, I think that the challenge that I think the industry is facing in general is there's so much content out there, right? And we become so kind of overloaded that you're very focused on like, hey, I know the games that I like, the genres I like, and so here's my window, right? I'm going to keep in this because, again, cost, time, energy, right? All those things. But with demos, it allows for accidental enjoyment, like things that I did not plan. If it's a demo of like, oh, it's a game I wouldn't normally try, but I'm going to give it a shot, that can create this kind of, it kind of opens that gap a little bit more, opens that your eyes a little bit more to an exposure. And I think when there's so many things and we're kind of overwhelmed by choice, to have an option of say, here's a demo, why don't you, like, here's a taste test. If you don't like it, that's fine. You can delete it. There's no cost, but at least I'm here. I'm serving you something. I'm trying, right? So it can help kind of reduce some of those choices. Adam, go ahead.
With the messed up eShop the way it is, that at least I find is a mess.
Yeah.
Do they still have that section on there that says games with demos? Is that still a search feature? That's a decent way for a small indie company to actually get their product in a list that's not 100 pages long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. Excellent. Well, folks, great conversation there. Let's move on to some events we're going to chat about, shall we? Jesse, do you have a bump? All right, guys, a couple of quick events I want to make sure that you're aware of. The first one is our fantastic friends over at NDAD Crossing is doing tours. Dan from NDAD Crossing's show is taking tours of the NDAD's Peeps Island. What is who wrote this? Who wrote this bumper?
It wasn't me.
This is an exclusive to Nintendo Dad's Patreon subscribers. Tours will be live streamed on Monday, June 1st from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Time. In the UK on Tuesday, on June 2nd. And if you're interested, DM Dan on Discord on Sunday, the 31st as well.
By Sunday. 31st.
By 31st. Tim, can we get like a image prepared for that so we can send that out maybe?
There's already an image. It's in the Discord. Dan created it already.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay. Fantastic. A couple things as well to make you aware of. Pokemon Go Festival. Adam, do you play Pokemon Go or did you?
I did for a long time, and then the spawns around me were so crappy that I was like, I'm done.
I'm out. Fair enough. I like it.
I'm
out. It's July 25th and 26th. Will be a global event. Anyone can pay to participate, no matter where they are. What?
In previous years, Pokemon Go Fest was like at a specific location, like in Chicago, like specific park in Chicago, and yet it was admission to get in, and there was limited tickets because of limited spacing, and I don't remember what the cost was, but I know a bunch of the people in my area. I think 5 people from my area went last year, but due to the limitations given upon us, they are making it a worldwide global event. Anyone can participate. It still has to be a paid event to take part in it, but you don't have to go anywhere specific. You don't have to go to Chicago. You can just do it from wherever you are. So they haven't announced pricings or what specifically will be the feature of the Go Fest, but other than it'll be a 2-day event from July 25th and 26th.
Interesting. Are you going to go, Jesse, or go?
I plan on participating in them.
That's very cool. Excellent. So if you're a Pokemon Go fan, of course, if you're a Pokemon Go fan and you're not following Jesse Waldak, what are you doing with your life? Get it together. He knows what's going on with Pokemon Go. He is our Pokemon Go man about town, news hound is what I would call him. All right. So let's jump into a quick version of what we've been playing. Super quick, light touches. Tim, I see your list. Go away. That is massive. Adam, you're our guest here, sir. What have you been playing?
Animal Crossing, which I ranted about this week about recreating islands.
Nice.
And then Rune Factory 4, and that's and Maneater on Xbox, which is a weird game.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that. Tell me, give me your 30-second. Here's Adam's review of Maneater. And just for reference, folks, it's about a shark. All right, let's stop. Before the Twitch comments light up.
It's legitimately like an RPG game as a shark in an open world, where you swim around and kill people or fish or whatever else, people trying to hunt you. You can upgrade your shark, get armor for your shark. It's a very weird premise, but it works incredibly well.
Shark armor, that's a term I've never thought I'd hear.
Nice. Okay, excellent.
It is supposed to come to the Nintendo Switch, just not sure when. Yes.
No.
Yep, it is.
When it does,
Okay.
it's a worthwhile pickup.
We are definitely going to have to get a review copy or a code for Man Eater and live stream that. While having fish crackers, I think would definitely be the way that goldfish crackers. I think would be the way we have to do that. How are you liking Animal Crossing?
I like it. I haven't really actually played one before now. This is my first real go at one. I'm not a time traveler, or I'm not using the duplication glitches. If people do, like, I don't care. But now that I've done everything except for the seasonal fishing bugs, I've built like your maximum inclines and built your maximum bridges, and now I just become very annoyed that it takes me a day to destroy one, another day to rebuild it, and when you're trying to redo your whole island, it's like I started May 10th redesigning my island, and I'm not that far, and it's been 2 weeks plus, and I'm kind of annoyed and almost done with it.
Sorry, can I ask a question here? Because this has been irritating me. You can destroy bridges that you built? How do you do that?
I haven't figured that out.
If you go back and see, if you go to Tom Nook, and you pick infrastructure and you pick bridges and inclines, it'll give you the option to destroy one.
Really? Oh, because I had done like
my first day.
I did my first bridge and it was bamboo, and I don't like that.
Is that something that you have to unlock, or is that available as soon as infrastructure is available?
I don't know. Like, I just one day I decided I don't want that there, and I went and did it. So I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Dan, he's our chat. He's our N-Dad Crossing podcast. Dan, is breaking fence or breaking down bridges and stuff like that available all the time, or do you got to unlock something? Can you let me know in the chat, please? There you go. Okay, he'll let me know here in a second. Yeah, he'll let me know here in a second. So, okay, awesome. I am interested in that shark game, though. That sounds fantastic. Jesse, let's go to you.
All right, so yeah, I bought 3 games that came out today and haven't had any chance to play them, so hopefully I'll play them so I can talk about them next week. But the game that I did purchase and play a little bit of is Minecraft Dungeons that came out on Tuesday. I've played like the first 2 levels so far. It's Diablo with voxels, so it's I know the first level is pretty much canned, and there was not many options there. But when I got to the second option, it gave me a difficulty slider I can choose, and each one gives like a recommended level, which is different than your player level. It's a different number, which I don't fully understand yet, because it was only 1, and so like the first one was the easiest level is recommended level 1, so okay, I'll do that one. And the next one was 4. I think the next one was 7. So that similar to like how Diablo 2 worked, because I played the hell out of that back in the day. You'd play through the game on 1 level, and then once you finish it, then you could continue your character by playing through at a higher difficulty. It sounds like that, but I don't have to wait till I beat it the first time. I can just choose the harder difficulty later. There was a few difficulty settings that looked like they was grayed out. I couldn't pick them yet, so there's more difficulties that were unlockable. I think there was like 5 or 6 different difficulty settings to choose from, but that's as far as I got. I know I'm collecting these gems. I don't know what they're good for yet. And I
blacksmith.
Okay, I have a sword and I have a bow, and you learn quickly which enemies you don't want near you, so you want to range them. But so I plan hope to get more time with that, working around the other games I bought before next week, and then I'm sure Marty has some words about it when he gets here next week. Sure.
Okay. Tim, you've been playing Minecraft Dungeons as well.
Yes, I've been playing it as well. And Jesse, we should get together and play online sometime. I think it would be fun between you, me, and Marty probably, and anybody else out there, because you can have 4 people playing online. I would like to give that a try, actually. But I have been playing with my son, local play, and we've done 2 missions and recorded one of those missions, which is out there in YouTube now today. So thanks for posting that for me. Justin. And then
Thanks for doing it.
sure. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and just like what Jesse said, it's you have options and replayability there that maybe you might not have thought of for that. So far, we've been playing on the easy mode, or the easiest level, which is the level 1. We haven't been using the slider yet. And it helps with the learning curve on it to learn what the game is about, learn what you're going to find when you're
and
exploring.
the slider does give you like an approximate percentage of increase. That's like it's normal level or 1.7 or times difficult and 2 point something times difficult, whatever that means.
It'll increase your experience, the loot that you get and the other items that you get, the harder you make the level. So you get some benefits from it. And there's been other games I've seen like that too, and I can't remember what they are at the moment, but I've been playing that. Yes. A lot of games actually with Sam, since being, stuck at home, and he's been more and more, wanting to play games with me, which is cool. So I'm trying to take advantage of it while I can, but at the same time, I still want to play my games as well. So, but for his birthday, he got New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. So we've been playing a little bit of that. Another game that I reviewed or did a Let's Play of was Kingdom 2 Crowns, and it does have a 2-player element. He gave it a try, and we actually been playing that, which is a lot of fun. We get to build up a castle together in that. We plan on he started playing you can bring in a player right in the middle of a game you're already playing, so we did that. But I figured, you know what, let's start fresh. So the next time we play, we're gonna just start brand new and start building a kingdom together. And basically, if nobody knows or remembers from me talking before, it's basically a 2D resource management type game where you're picking up resources and building your kingdom and paying peasants to be part of your kingdom from those resources and stuff. So it's really cool. It gives me a little bit of a StarCraft, Age of Empires type vibe in that respect, where you're building up stuff using resources. The other game, Concept Destruction, another game that I reviewed or did a Let's Play of, and we've been playing 2-player of. And one area that we've been having a lot of fun with is the tour aspect, which is it's a destruction derby game essentially, and it's sorry, got moved there. I lost track where I was there. 2-player game with we've been playing a 2-player game with on the tour mode, which is nobody's crashing into you for the destruction derby part. They're just kind of driving around the course, but the 2 players can sit there and crash each other and not get any damage. And one board that we found we found a ton of glitches, and I even wrote to the developer saying, here's a video of what we found. I tagged him in Twitter and said you might want to fix that or something in case you can, or do a patch. But actually, even though it breaks the game, it cracks us up with what happens. So it's one of those glitches that just is hilarious to us, and Sammy just loves it, and we've been playing that to death because of that. And then of course it does have its survival mode and its regular normal mode for crashes and stuff, which is a lot of fun and hilarious at the same time. I also broke out Trine. It was a game I bought the Ultimate Collection for Trine, and Sammy and I have been playing that together, 2-player, and loving that game. And it's a beautiful looking game as well. And we got as far as level 6 of 15, which is called the Crypt of the Damned. But it's basically kind of like reminds me of a 2D type gauntlet type game. So with platforming elements, which is a lot of fun. And again, it's something it's the first game he wants to go play, which is cool. So, and for reference, if anybody wants to know, my son is 12. So if anybody wants to pick up that game,
there's a lot of big shout outs, by the way, in the Twitch chat of say hi to Sam. Sam is the man.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of love for Sam. So that's awesome.
That's nice. He always asks every morning, "Did you guys talk about me? Was I brought up?"
We did. Yeah. Unlike Marty's child, who says I suck at streaming, so I'm gonna have to have a chat with Marty's kid about that one.
Right. Yes, that's something we're gonna have to talk about, right? But another game I've been playing, Animal Crossing, of course. Been working on a project plan. I rolled the credits, and actually did that by accident. Because I was just running in to see what I had to do in order to get a 3 or better star island. And when I went to go check, all the work I've done apparently made my island a 4-star island. And KK came and did his thing and rolled credits and all that kind of stuff. And I unlocked the terraforming stuff. And now I've got this project plan that I worked on, and I posted in Twitter and saying that, okay, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G all over my map, all these little projects I'm going to be doing. And of course, been playing with my family.
But I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah, that's what all those letters were, because it was in discussion. I think I brought it up in the Mega Dads Discord as well, because
Nice.
One of them asked about who got their project plans going, and that's what I shared there. And then finally, Shinsekai Into the Depths, I started playing. And funny thing about that, I started playing a couple days before I heard the Dad's After Dark show, and they called me out, and they called Jesse out. I don't know if you heard that one episode yet, Jesse, but they're not necessarily called us out, but said they looked at ways people play games. There's a way to play Jesse way of playing games, and then there's a Tim way of playing games. And they also said it was Justin's way of playing games as well. Jesse's way of playing games is one at a time. Take one game, go play it to completion, then you move on to the next.
Not false.
Tim's way of playing, and apparently you too, Justin, is just games all over the place. And and John had said he likes to look at our list of games, because it changes like every week. That it'd be just some games move up to the top and move down, and they always root for me to try to finish a game. So the next game I'm trying to finish is this Shinsekai Into the Depths game. As I mentioned before, I've been loving what I've been playing so far, and I want to beat it because I want it to be on my contenders list for Game of the Year for me.
Nice.
Because it's been a lot of fun, and I think I did a video on it, maybe 2. I don't know. It's been a while, but there's a video out there what I started playing. There's plenty of other people have been playing it. It's got Metroidvania vibes to it, to me, or maybe even Castlevania just by itself. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's something I hope a lot of people check out.
That's great. I like it. Hey, Adam, speaking of kind of gaming, what kind of family games do you guys play? Obviously, you got a ton of board games, but is there like a go-to? Because you got some young kids as well, so that when the lads were talking about Minecraft Dungeon, right? Are your kids that age?
Yeah, they play it, but I'm just not much of a Minecraft guy, so
that's fair.
So I'm not playing it. But if we're doing family games, it's Mario Party.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to video games, Mario Party, Mario Kart. Actually, that's about it. That's all they really want to play. They really love playing Bowser Party on the Wii U, so we still have that hooked up to the main TV, and we'll play a lot of that. But it's when it comes to family game nights, Mario Kart, Mario Party.
Yeah, classic, right? Absolute classics. Nice. I was just curious as the guys were talking.
Before we move on, while we were talking, I brought up. I went to Nook's office to see what the options are when I checked for bridges. Bringing it up on YouTube now. So when you say you want to talk about bridges or incline, you're given 4 options. Let's build a bridge. Let's make an incline. Demolish something, or not now. So if I choose demolish something, then it says you want to demolish something. I can certainly understand wanting to make more space. Of course, moving a bridge or incline will cost 10,000 bells, and demolishing can't be restored. So think carefully. Are you sure you want to do it? Yeah, yep, you bet I am, or no way. So I just chose no way because I'm not ready to demolish anything yet. But that's
so it can be done there. I just apparently didn't look hard enough.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
That's fair. Okay. I'll just give you a quick. All right, you're actually streaming. I see that. Okay, it's up on our screen right now. So quickly, what have I been playing? 2 games I will throw to the attention. First one was Shadow. Journey to the Savage Planet. That came out last week. It was a shadow drop. I've been playing that. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's got this kind of like first-person Metroid Prime, Metroidvania kind of elements to it. Great writing, kind of really sharp, kind of funny, good sense of humor, good voice acting. The world kind of reminds me a little bit of oh my gosh, No Man's Sky. There it is. Kind of this graphical style-ish kind of color palette, reminds me a little bit of that. But it's just a really fun, really enjoyable game. They've got the scanning where you can again scan kind of creatures and you catalog them again. So that kind of feels a little bit like the Metroid Prime series as well. I definitely say check it out. Again, it's a game that like when I saw it originally, I was like, oh, I hope that's coming to the Switch. And like, nope. And so it shadow dropped, and I was surprised. It seems to run really smoothly. So again, that's Journey to the Savage Planet. The other game I've been playing, which dropped today, is Atomic Crops. And so Atomic Crops is like if you take Stardew Valley, the farming kind of idea, building a farm and you know the community, and combine that with Enter the Gungeon. That's kind of what this game is, and it's in a post-apocalyptic world. So essentially, the idea is you've taken over the farm from your grandfather or uncle or something like this. An atomic nuclear bomb kind of wipes out everything else, and now you kind of like restart farming. And so there's like creatures that are trying to like steal your crops. So you plant crops and you kind of get them going. And then all of a sudden these creatures come and take them and you got to kill them and shoot them and you go through seasons. So there's like a spring where it's 3 days. At the end of the third day, a big boss arrives. You have to battle them. It's roguelike elements. It's got that kind of like one more run hook associated with it as well. And again, I'm not like a huge fan of Enter the Gungeon, right? I've talked about it, like just wasn't my thing. Atomic Crops, and I don't know what it is about it, has got me hooked. Like I have been loving playing this game. It is such a cool concept and a cool idea. Again, I don't think there's anything revolutionary, right? But it does feel like you've kind of thrown a couple things into a blender and mixed it in. Feels also at times a little bit of like Moonlighter is kind of in it as well. But essentially you go and every day you get your crops and you harvest your crops and you get some your currency, which is cashews, and then you have to exchange your cashews. You go back to like the town every day. You're like, oh, I want a better gun, so I'm gonna exchange it for this, but the gun is only so long, and oh, I got hurt, so I need to grow a rose, and a rose can buy me a heart, and it's very cool, very cool. That's Atomic Crops, and that's out today. So check
I love the tagline for that game. It's farm, marry, kill.
Kill. Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely, like I said, there's definitely some Stardew Valley, Enter the Gungeon inspirations for sure.
Well, that's a little play on words over the common game that's played on several shows.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to jump into our community spotlight, and this is going to go over to Adam. So we got a bumper for community spotlight, do we? There we go. It's very regal. It's very regal. Adam, this is where we turn the show over to you and talk about the amazing work that you do. What have you been up to? Talk to us about what you do. Point us in the direction. Share the world that is Adam and your site.
Well, when it comes to like video game stuff, 2014 is when I jumped in, and I got my start at Games Reviews. I just finished my master's degree at the University of Windsor, and then I wanted to do something with my writing because I just went back to working in my dad's diesel shop, and so I started writing. I still remember the very first game I got to keep was Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U.
Nice.
And I got the Mario amiibo with the fireball when that just came out. That was the first game I ever got that I got to keep. And I was just like, you was like over the moon. It was like, wow, this is what this could be. And then from there, I just kept writing, took over as editor-in-chief there. And then for a long time, it was just myself and one other writer. And then just within the last year, we brought on 3 or 4 more over on gamesreviews.com. So we don't put out a lot. Like we try to do a lot of reviews. We don't put a lot of new stuff out because it's like we're never going to be that first person to break something anymore. So we try to go more with the opinion content, which I enjoy writing more than a news piece anyway. So that's really just the end of my gaming stuff. Like I've always been a Nintendo guy. I gravitate towards that. In fact, I get invited to a lot of events up in Toronto, and I think the only ones I ever jump on and actually go to are the Nintendo ones. which have come a long way because the first Nintendo event I went to, they did it in their own office, and it was so cramped that you couldn't even move. It was like E3, but like tiny. They've improved since then. But they throw great events. So does Microsoft and Sony. They throw great events as well. But I've just always, if I'm driving 3 hours up to Toronto, it's going to be for Nintendo. So always just been a Nintendo guy, and I still try to focus. Most of my writing ends up being about Nintendo.
That's great. Excellent.
Aside from that, like my wife and I, we have an Instagram page, which is not that popular. I think we have like 712 followers, and that's it. But it's just nerdy.mouse.blog, and that's where we post all our Disney stuff. So my first love is Nintendo. My second love is Disney. And we love going to the parks in Florida. We love going on Disney Cruise Line. We're prepping for our 10-year anniversary in a couple of years, and we're going to go to California to do that because we've never done that. So that's my other hobby that I put time into. And then after all that, when it's free time, it's board games.
Nice.
I like playing, and I'm a board game snob now. I can fully admit it. Monopoly is not a board game. The Game of Life is not a board game. Even now, Settlers of Catan is not a board game.
So, like, give us an example of, like, what is a board game? Like, what are you playing right now? What's your favorite?
Right now, I'm really liking Tapestry, which is a Civilization-style building game from a company called Stonemaier. It's long, it's lengthy, it's tons of pieces, cards, things to keep track of. But the board gaming has turned into like opportunities to review as well, as we kind of expanded our website into a couple other avenues. Board games was one of them. So that's a big one. And then I have a game coming in for review, which is called Through the Ages, which is also a civilization building game. Which is also like it's a 3-hour game, probably 3 or 4 hour game. But that's where I'm at. Like it'll spend a lot of time playing board games.
Nice, excellent. I also enjoy board games a lot, but I feel like now if I give you a name, you're gonna be like, that's not a board game. So I'm very concerned.
Try me.
Kings of Tokyo is our favorite with the family.
I do like that one.
Okay.
That's sitting high on the shelf.
Okay. Exploding Kittens obviously is very good with the kids.
Yep.
What else do we have right now that's a big hit with the kids? I can't even remember what it is. Tsuro?
Tsuro?
Yeah, Tsuro, yep. Yeah.
The one with the tiles and the...
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's a good game. That's a great one with kids.
Forbidden Island, Pandemic. That seems a little bit... is it Pandemic?
Yeah. If I can recommend like one game, like if you're like, I want to play something that's... Because I think as people who love video games, we like that experience from start to finish, not just like the one-off, I'm done in an hour kind of thing. The same company that makes that game, Tapestry, that I mentioned earlier, makes a game called Charterstone, which is it's a legacy game played over 12 rounds, 12 games. They're about an hour apiece. But like it slowly builds in elements. So if you're not familiar with board games, it slowly builds in layers and layers and layers of complexity as you go. But then when you're done, unlike Pandemic, where I think you're ripping up cards and you're putting stickers on things, this game, when you're done, you actually have a physical board game that then can be played all on its own.
Nice.
And that's called, get it, Charterstone.
Charterstone or Stones?
Yeah, Stone, singular. I think you can get it now for like maybe $50.
Oh, nice.
So, and it's 12, it's a good 12 to 15 hours.
I like it.
I play with my wife, just the two of us, and it plays just as good as with 5 or 6 players. So
nice. Yeah, we're definitely big board game fans here as well. I think that you've got us a couple tiers above, but that's kind of what we enjoy as well. So it's great.
I want to have a game I want to throw at him, see if what his thoughts are. It's not a family-friendly game or a kid-friendly game, and so but it's I have talked about it on the show before. Secret Hitler.
Heard of that? I've never played it. I've seen it played when I was somewhere, kind of like a board gaming convention. Someone had it there and was playing it, and I watched a bit. I've never played it though.
it's a fun game. It gets insane.
It's interesting.
Nice. Awesome. I did want to ask about the Disney part though, Adam. Like, what is it that draws you to Disney?
Ironically, when I was young, I wasn't allowed to watch Disney.
Oh.
My parents were like pretty strict. They've lessened off now with all my other siblings, but there's a lot of things we couldn't watch. But my wife is always a huge Disney movies fan. And so when we got married, all of a sudden we're buying every Disney Blu-ray when it comes out. So you can imagine the collection we've amassed, and the kids have grown up with it, and I've grown up with them with it. And when we were trying to pick our honeymoon, we didn't know what to do. And my wife and I are both not beach people. Like, we're not people to just sit on a beach or sit at a resort. So we were like, well, let's try cruising. And she went for a Disney cruise, and I was like, I don't care. Whatever. Sounds good to me. And we just loved it so much. And then the next year we went to the parks for the first time, and then it was kind of a yearly thing. My mother-in-law being in Florida makes a huge difference, just because. So we do drive down, because flights for 5 people out of Detroit, once we pay the dollar change and everything, it's quite expensive. So we drive down. It's nice to have like a vehicle down there to drive around in. A place to stay when we aren't staying at the resorts. First couple of years, we just stayed at my mother-in-law's and drove every day. Now we'll try to get a resort for a couple nights, but yeah, that's kind of where it grew. Like, it's only been a 8-year thing for me now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is really, really cool. Yeah, it's so you sorry, not being allowed to watch Disney. I think you and I are probably around the same age. And in Canada, like, and I don't know what it was in the US, but like Sunday nights at like 6 o'clock was The Wonderful World of Disney, right? And there's this TV show. Like, did you not watch that?
I didn't watch a lot of TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like there was a part of me, like, I remember when I was young, the TV coming out of the closet to watch like Swiss Family Robinson, which was a Disney movie.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was one movie we watched a lot. My grandparents had it. But like, it was like Bugs Bunny Saturday nights at 6:30.
Yeah.
It was the Leafs game at 7. Hockey game, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a hockey game. Sorry, folks. Sorry. A little Canuck talk.
The Leafs game at 7, and I would say we didn't watch a lot of TV outside of that.
Yeah.
To a point where we would go on vacation. So I've talked a lot with Marty about this. My parents own a vacation home in Tennessee. So we went every year to Tennessee. And like most people go on vacation and do stuff, like we went on vacation and watched TV because there was cable.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
little
fantastic.
sheltered.
Yeah, that's well. It sounds like you're making up for it a little bit, but it also sounds like also being sheltered has allowed you to enjoy those benefits of stuff like board games, right? And family gaming, and the importance of coming together and not being in front of a screen, mindlessly siloed, but rather engaging each other. And I think the wonderful world that is Disney is a pretty great escapism as well.
Growing up, our TV was on just all the time, whether anyone was watching it or not. It was just always on, just as background noise for something. So
yeah. And again, just for a reference point that people are maybe missing because of our thick Canadian accents, it is review game or games review. Games reviews, plural on both. Gamesreviews.com. So guys, check it out. Check out Adam and the amazing work that he's doing as well. Like I said, it's kind of funny. We've been following each other and chat, having DMs back and forth for probably about 5 years now, because we entered this.
Doing all that behind the scenes PR discussions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Adam and I have had some great conversations about Nintendo in general and PR companies. Let's just say that. But a lot of behind the scenes chatter, and it's interesting that we kind of both started out in about the same space as well, but at the same time, 2014. So that's been fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us as well tonight. I know it is a very late night for you, just shy of 1 o'clock. So we'll quickly wrap up. I've got 2 final questions, and then we're going to say let's get out of here. Both these questions come from Mecha Dragon, so we're going to kick it off. The question asks, my question for the week is the following. I think a tweet came out where Nintendo stated it won't be a while till we get an entire new regular direct, and not to get our hopes up for any big news release in the year. Do you dads think a lack of Nintendo Direct or game news in general will affect Nintendo podcasts, shows, like your show or other Nintendo outlets? Do the dads have backup plans for any shows or weeks where there's literally no news going on in the world of Nintendo? My apologies if this is personal information. I'm just wondering. I wonder if this is what you dads were referring to when you were referring to the dark ages of the Wii U. Thank you again for your time. Adam, let's go to you. Nintendo not really having a chat about what they're doing. And especially, I guess, as an outlet that provides some coverage, right, and provides reviews and provides an insight. How does this impact you guys, or does it at all?
No. Like, there's so, like, what do we have, 4 games tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, there's no shortage of stuff coming out. Like, even if it's not a Nintendo, like, they got Xenoblade this week, they got Clubhouse next week. And then there's that lull period until, it's what, a month?
Yeah,
until
a month,
Origami King comes, right?
Yeah.
So, but in between that, like you said, the Outer Worlds is next week. A bunch of games coming out tomorrow. There's always Nintendo stuff to write about. And I think as we get closer to E3, you're going to start seeing those other drops from different companies.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, that's a great question, kind of like from the dad's perspective. I mean, it does, I don't think it's, I think what we saw last time from Nintendo in the dark ages of the Wii U that we referred to, right, was that, like, there wasn't really games that came out, and the games that were coming out weren't really great, and Nintendo's communication was pretty thin, right? I mean, I make the joke of, like, we talked about Paper Mario Color Splash for 4 months, right? So we can stretch any of this kind of stuff out. There's always news, and I think now, especially, like, if you think 5 years ahead to where we came from to where we are, the news cycle is so much quicker. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we're not reporting about, like, we barely report about Nintendo news here directly from Nintendo. It was, let's talk about third parties, let's talk about rumors, so I don't think it really impacts us. There's always news to parcel out and to dissect. And I think especially right now, as we move into this E3 time frame in the summer of gaming or whatever you want to call it, there's always content for us. So I don't think we're overly impacted as well. All right. Final question. Again, another one actually comes from Mecha Drake. And I just want to make sure we had all these questions right. Simple question. How do you keep organized with playing video games, work, and whatever skill or talent you want to learn? So basically, how do you balance everything between gaming and family and other skills and just life in general?
Yeah, normally for me, we actually don't do a lot of family time. I spend time with my wife in the evenings, and no kids at home, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. So it's just work, some me time, and then spend some time with her in the evening. But with last few weeks with all the home renovations we're doing, it's taken up more of my me time. So that's why I haven't had a chance to play many games this week. So, but it's some weeks it's better than others. Like the week, like the week after Christmas, for example, I was off from work, so I had nothing but me time, and was able to put 50 hours into Dragon Quest XI that week. So that's almost half the game.
Yeah, I think it's challenging, right? Like there are peaks and valleys. Sometimes you're able to kind of carve out what you need to, and you balance your schedule. And I think like as a parent, I think that's for me, I try and get my game timing out. Like if it's not family gaming, right? So we're not playing something together. It's after the kids have gone to bed, right? Just so that I'm not eating into that time. And then the other part of that is also like just managing expectations with my wife, right? Like that's the only time that we get our time together, right? Where we get to just kind of be adults and be parents and just take that away, right? So just managing that, it's a hard thing, right? It is very peaks and valleys. And I would kind of argue, like when I used to travel for work, like I was literally gone from my family for an entire week, right? Where I was like work, office, hotel. So my gaming was like kind of during those peak times, right? Because it was just, that was the thing I had, right? So it's very, so I would come off like a week of like, hey, I've done it, I've been working, but I've been traveling. So I'm playing a lot of my Switch or my 3DS or whatever it was at the time. But like, I wouldn't want to play a game for a couple days or 2 or 3 or 4, right? Just to kind of like not be there. So it is just a little bit of a balance. My family game or my gaming used to be like when I was a young parent, when my wife was asleep and my kids were asleep. Like it was Fridays and Saturdays from like 12 o'clock to 2 a.m. I had like 2 hours every Friday and Saturday, though that was it. And like the next day I'd always be a bit cranky or a little bit tired, but that was kind of an important time for when I did that, right? So it's just trying to find that balance for yourself, and sometimes, and I think that also changes the games that you play, right? Like if it was like, hey, you're a new parent, would you be interested in a 120-hour JRPG? You'd be like, no, I'd be interested in level 1 of Super Mario. That's all I can handle right now, right?
And those times when I am in a 80 to 100-hour game, I'll do, play after the wife goes to bed. I'll normally be up a few hours extra, like you just said, so to get because otherwise I'll be playing for an extra 2 weeks. And as previously mentioned, I try to play one game at a time.
Yeah, I do think the other part of it I'd say here, Mecha Dragon, as well, is just setting up boundaries for yourself, right? So if you're like, it's a little bit of like, and especially as we think of just being at home or COVID or whatever that is, like it's so easy to like, okay, I'm gonna lay in bed or lay on my couch and watch Netflix or play games all day. It can be very easy, but just setting up a schedule, like, okay, from 8 to 10, presumably you have no other responsibilities. 8 to 10, I'm gonna watch Netflix. 10 to 1, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go read a book, I'm going to go for a run, go for an exercise. Do you know what I mean? Like, regiment and schedule out your time. And especially, I think, if you're talking about trying to learn a new skill, carve out that time, right? Time is the finite thing that you have. You only have so much of it. How are you going to disperse it throughout your day? So, take care of the priorities of your life, right? The things that, I need a shower, I need food, I need these things, take care of those. And then the emotional things that you need, and then kind of ripple it out from there. So I don't know, Adam, how do you balance? Obviously being a very busy guy as well.
Yeah, I think it was a change in gaming habits, especially with my third kid, and he's only 1.5. So I would say a year ago, I was super excited for new Xbox, new PlayStation. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I probably won't get one because I just don't have time. I don't have time anymore to hook up my Xbox, turn everything on, sit on the couch and play. The time just doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. With my Switch, like I mentioned earlier, I can do it. Like we're rewatching some old television shows, my wife and I, and she has her Switch and she'll play Skyrim while we watch, and I'll be playing whatever Rune Factory right now. Mm-hmm. The benefit for me, and I feel like it is for you too, the benefit is that like my wife enjoys to play some games. Mm-hmm. Like she's not like, no, I'm not touching that.
Yeah.
So like, not everybody has that. Like my wife is 80 hours deep in Skyrim. Like she loves it. So quality time for us some nights is we have like we joke that we have his and hers couches upstairs on each side of the room, right? She'll be on hers playing Skyrim and I'll lay on mine, and you chit-chatting about whatever, or even just playing silently, but that's still our quality time. It's something we enjoy to do. But you're right, it's the priorities of what you have to get done. Like I have work to do all day, and then I have the kids that need attention.
Yeah.
And then my wife and I, we like to do things outside of gaming as well. And so there's nights where my gaming time, especially if I'm working on a review, it's midnight till 2 a.m. knowing that 8:30 I got to be at the office. And there'll become a time, like I know it I know deep down there's going to be a time with the website for sure where it's like, okay, I'm hanging them up.
Yeah, and I think like that's what anyone would eventually get to, right? We've kind of talked about that here, right? Our cast has changed as well as you hang things up, right? Time and energy and priorities just shift, right? And so I think it's it's seasonal in some ways. Go ahead, Adam.
For me, there used to be that allure of a free game, mm-hmm. for all intents and purposes, like 4, 5, 6 years ago, where you're like, oh wow, I can get this free game. I've progressed in my own life, job wise. I've been, I've benefited from continually moving up, mm-hmm. to a point where it's like I could just buy it and not worry about whether I get it or don't get it. Like I'm in a place where I can just buy it. Yeah. So at what point as like a hobby, because for me and for games reviews, it's very much a hobby. It's a mm-hmm. hobby for all of us. at what time do you weigh that balance and go, is it worth it anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, right? Like, I mean, I think, we've always had this statement of like, we are not delusional, right? Like, we are, like, none of us are like, God bless, we love our Patreon folks and we love the support they're providing us and the money we make off like Twitch and YouTube and that, and those are all great things, but like, none of us are quitting our jobs, right? Like we have like sure, look, if I was a 25-year-old with no kids, no wife, no mortgage payments and cars and stuff like this, and and those things, and maybe sure we'd give it a shot, but I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Right? Like, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but no, definitely priority shift. So man, hopefully that helped you guys. Hopefully that was some good insight. Adam, thank you for that as well. I think it was good to kind of hear that side of that coin.
I got something I could say too,
Oh yeah, you. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Tim. Yeah, you again.
No, I there's one little piece I wanted to add. You guys are all saying pretty much the same thing I would have said. But one thing I wanted to point out, especially for Mecha Dragon, because we had a lengthy conversation before or after the dinner show earlier this month. And he had a lot of questions then. But he seems like a young guy who doesn't have kids and stuff like that right now. So what I would say, one of the things that I wish I would have known back then, because with you, Justin, I had a lot of, you schedule time, you do this, that, and another thing, and you do the 12 to 2 type of thing, especially when you're a newer dad type of thing. But before that too, I think one of the things I wish I would have learned quicker is flexibility. The ability to pivot that schedule or have blocks of time rather than just from 8 to 9, that 1 hour I'm going to do this, and from 9 to 10 I'm going to do this. It's more be flexible, do blocks of time to where, and then you can pivot those times or swap them because things change, life changes, opportunities change, whatever, what have you. But flexibility and agility too is 2 things I think that should be added to that.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's great. And I wish I could say there was like a straight, easy, dead answer for you, right? Like, hey, after, between all of our years of experience, here's what we could say, right? But it's so personal to what you need it to be and where you are in your life and how things shift. So hopefully you can use some of that. And Tim, I very much apologize that I didn't ask you. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not sorry I didn't ask Jesse, but I am sorry I didn't ask you. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, well, I did open the conversation too while everyone was thinking. But another thing I thought of is, my wife still plays EverQuest, and she's in a high-end raiding guild and raids 3 nights a week, and that is, pretty much like punching the clock type of job. She's needs to be on between this time and this time if she's going to maintain her status in the guild, because they take attendance and whatnot, and so there's a lot of other politics that goes on. But at least I know when she's raiding, then I can have my me time. So she doesn't really care about Switch games. I asked her if she wanted to play Animal Crossing. She has no interest. She'll play some Jackbox games from time to time when family's around, but that's really it. So she has her games, I have my games. We just do our own thing, and we're both okay with this.
Nice.
Yes, it also says /pizza. If you played EverQuest in the early mid-2000s, you'd know what that means.
Nice. All right. Well, folks, I think this is a long enough show. Adam's about to fall asleep. I don't blame him. It's like 1:15 in Ontario right now. So, and Adam, Tim, I recognize you're in the same time zone. I just don't feel as bad for you. I apologize. All right. Adam, again, remind people where they can find you, where they can find the website. Last pitch here.
Website is gamesreviews, plural on both.com. Twitter is just Adam Roffel, ROFFEL. And then on Instagram, it's just nerdy.mouse.blog.
Awesome. Guys, check out Adam. Really, genuinely, it's been great over the last 5 years to get to know you more and have conversations and check in and be able to watch you kind of change your jobs and your careers. And it's just fantastic. So, guys, check out Adam. And thank you so much for your time as well. Guys, we wrap up the shows. A couple things to big thank you to. Big thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, David Ernsberg, Sean Abbott, and Antonio Contrario. Thank you guys so much for your continued Patreon support. Again, guys, thank you to every single person who supports us on Patreon, regardless. But those are our Patreon producers for this week. Thank you so much. Of course, you can check out our information over at nintendodads.org. We have a website. You can do it there. Check it out. Also, check out all of our latest YouTube videos. We literally, guys, have videos coming out every single day. It's crazy. We have in 2020, that was our initiative, videos every day. It's crazy. So do check it out. Subscribe, watch videos. Thank you for those that are watching, commenting, sharing. We appreciate that. Of course, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are on those things. Man, we appreciate all of your support as well. If you want to email us, send in questions or voicemails, go to nintendodads@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail, 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix and the music you hear throughout the show. And of course, if you're interested, subscribe. Go over to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Castbox, Spotify, wherever you can find a podcast. You can find us. You should listen there. Subscribe. And by the way, while you're there, 4 or 5 star reviews. None of this BS below that. All right, if you're going to give anything below that, just don't do it. Just go give like the Mega Dads a 1-star review, not us. All right, that's what you can do. That's fine. I'm okay with that, but not us. 4 or 5, that's what we deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode 282. For myself, for Jesse, for Tim, and for our amazing guest, Adam, thank you so much for your time. Be well, be safe, take care of each other. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
We sound like the goddamn Nintendo dads all of a sudden.